Welcome to the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast. I am your host, Shannon Whaley, and I'm here to help coaches, consultants, and service providers like you build profitable, sustainable online businesses without the hustle or the burnout that's so prevalent in the online space. I am here to show you that there is a totally different way to do business that doesn't leave you burnt the fuck out and hating your life. It's time to ditch the hustle culture and embrace a new way of doing business. So get ready to redefine success on your terms and build a thriving anti-hustle based business where you have more money, more naps, more travel, more freedom, more whatever the fuck you want in your life. So buckle up and let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast. So rainy season is here. It has finally started to, like, weeks on end raining here in Italy. I live just outside of Pisa in Italy. Last year, I was very angry at the rain. And the year prior, I had a full, because I don't have a car, so I had a full rain outfit on. I have a bright orange jacket, like a North Face jacket. I have waterproof pants. I have boots. And I would get my ass up in the morning and ride my bike 20 minutes to the gym. And so then last year I was pissed at the weather and I said, I dug my heels in and I said, I refuse to ride my bike to the gym. Well, that obviously only hurts me. So my workouts got derailed. I obviously lost a lot of strength. And then when you get out of the habit of doing things, it's just harder to get back into doing that. Like if you did something every day, then it's just easier to then add on to that versus the heavy lift of getting back in the gym. And so, of course, my mental health tanked. And I decided this year I can't I can't let that happen. And I don't know how much, I have to go back through my notes. I don't know how much I've been talking about this, but I just started hormone replacement therapy for perimenopause. And I know that I need to work out for my mental health, if not for anything else. So leaving the strength and the aesthetic and like bikini bod or whatever, leaving that fully aside, I speak nicer to myself when I'm working out, when I'm moving my body. So it doesn't even have to be like going to the gym or doing anything like that. I just need to move my body on a consistent basis. And so the rain came. And I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And so I just took a course on cognitive behavioral coaching and I really solidified because this is already what I do with my clients. And it just really solidified that I needed to step up my self coaching. So before we get into this, so what is cognitive behavioral coaching? So you might have heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, but CBC is based on CBT, obviously, but it's really focused more on your future goals and what you want to be creating and doing, which is coaching, instead of past trauma, which is therapy. So it's really about recognizing the thoughts and the beliefs that are driving your behavior and then choosing new ones that actually serve you, that actually get you closer to your goals. So it's basically learning how to stop believing your own bullshit, the lies and the excuses, and replacing those limiting thoughts and beliefs with new ones that actually move the needle, that get you to where you want to be. So the outline of this process, I want to give it to you so that you can understand, and you can literally apply this to anything. Procrastination is one of the main things that you can use this for, but you can use this to stop smoking. You can use this to get back into the gym. You can use this to get back into your launch. You can use it to get back into your business if you've taken time off. So the first one is to identify the situation. What's going on? So I just want to give you the framework and then I'll go through how I use the framework. Number 1, identify the situation. Number 2, notice your thoughts about it. What are you saying to yourself? Number 3, recognize how those thoughts create feelings. What are the thoughts and feelings that you are having? What are the excuses that you're making? What are the things that you're telling yourself? How does that feel in your body? Because we want to get the cognitive part, like the brain part, and then the behavioral part. We want to figure all this out, put it on a piece of paper, write about this in your journal so that we can start to dissect it. Number 4, notice how those feelings drive or block the desired behavior. Number 5, challenge or reframe the thought. What do you want this to look like instead? How do you want to feel instead? How do you want to feel about your body? How do you want to feel about your business, about your launch, about your relationship, whatever the thing you're laying this framework on? And then number 6, create a plan and take action. That's the big one. So in CBC, we talk about the thought, feeling, behavior triangle. So your thoughts create feelings, right? Your feelings drive your behavior. And then your behavior reinforces the thoughts that you're having. So if you want to change your habits, you have to start changing the thought that comes before them. So let me break this down for you so that you can see how I applied this and then see where you can actually apply this for yourself. For me, it was that the situation was that rainy season is coming. Last year I skipped the workouts. I paid a price. It took me a lot to get back into the gym. I lost a lot of strength. I spent a lot of time in bed. And the result was that my mental health tanked. So I knew that this year I needed to interrupt that pattern. What am I going to do instead? Step 2, identify the why. So in CBC, connecting to your why creates emotional leverage. That's why you're in Anti Hustle Business School. Vision and values and connecting to your why is the first module that we go through. You have to be so deeply rooted and understanding your why. What is your reasoning behind this goal? What's your reasoning behind wanting to start this business? You have to get connected to that. So I ask myself, why does this matter to me? Why is this important? I know that I talk nicer to myself when I'm moving my body. It doesn't even have to be powerlifting. A 20-minute bike ride, right? I feel proud. I feel really sexy. I feel strong. I feel powerful when I lift weights. I want to be a fit old lady. I want to be able to get up off the ground without needing somebody to help me. I want to be able to be limber and have mobility. I want to be able to carry groceries. I want to be able to ride my bike until I'm old. I want to hike. I want to kayak. I want to feel good in my body as I age and as I go through menopause. I just turned 46, so it blows my mind that I will be 50 years old here in 4 years. And I remember when I turned 45, I thought, I want to be the lady that goes kayaking and has this adventurous life. And I was like, when's the last time you actually went kayaking? And I couldn't even tell you. And I said, so maybe you should actually start doing some of that stuff now so that when you're older, that is just something that you already do. So for my 45th birthday, I took myself sea kayaking when I was down in Sardinia. And that has been my fuel for the last year and moving forward of why do I want this? And it has nothing to do with being thin. I mean, it's really hard work to try to get away from the diet culture stuff. But beyond that, because to be honest, I weigh like 190 pounds right now. I am at one of the highest weights that I've ever been. And also, when I'm working out, I feel really fucking strong. I can leg press like over 550 pounds. So does it matter how much I weigh? And I've really had to do a lot of work on if the scale said the same thing and it didn't budge, and you were still at the weight that you are, but you were consistent. You felt strong. You felt really powerful. You loved the weights that you were lifting. Would it matter how much you actually weighed? And so I really had to get on board with that. And no, it wouldn't, because I could fucking kick your ass. I have to remember that. So that's what we're going with. So that's what CBT calls linking to long term goals. And so it helps you trade that instant gratification for the long term satisfaction. And that's what we're going for here. So, step 3, the future visualization. So, I then ask myself, okay, how do I want to feel after this? Or how do I imagine I will feel after this? What's the desired outcome here and the desired feeling? And you might also recognize this. Danielle Laporte, when she did Desire Map as your goal setting, one of the main crux of that whole book is to identify, when you complete this goal, how do you imagine you'll feel? How do you want to feel? Because then we need to make sure that the goals actually make sense for your desired feeling. So, for example, like when clients are telling me about their business and the kind of business they want to run, and I want to feel spaciousness and I want to feel relaxed and I want to have more vacation time. And then they tell me how they've set up their business, and I'm working Monday through Friday. I am usually working until 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, there's a gap here from what you want to what you're actually doing. So we need to change your behavior so that you get closer to how you actually want to feel, because working 10 hours a day does not feel spacious. Working 6 days a week does not feel spacious, right? That is not an anti-hustle based business. So that's what I want. That's what I mean, is that we want to make sure that our feelings and how we want to feel and what we imagine we're going to feel lines up with what we're actually doing. So I thought, okay, how do I want to feel? I've been working out a long time. And so I know that I will feel accomplished. I will feel proud, clear headed, and really happy that I kept my promise to myself. And so the visualization is what pulls you forward instead of trying to push through guilt. And I've said this before when I've talked about my recovery. When I started running towards my goals and what I wanted and how I wanted to feel and what I wanted my life to look like, instead of avoiding the negative consequences. Oh, I don't want to feel hungover. I don't want to be broke all the time. That would drag you back down, right? So I wanted my dreams and my goals and my feelings to pull me and propel me forward. So really start to think about, what does the future me, how will that person be showing up? Oh, she's going to be fucking strong. She's going to be really happy that she followed through with this. That's what we're going for. We're moving towards something, not trying to avoid guilt and talking shit to ourselves. Want to break free from the hustle and grind and build a successful business? I've helped thousands of clients and students leave their 9-to-5 jobs, travel the world, land their first clients, close 5-figure sales in the DMs, and grow their businesses to 6 and 7 figures. Want to know more? Visit antihustlebiz.com and transform your life and business the anti-hustle way. Okay, back to the show. Okay, so step 4, identify the unhelpful thoughts. So all of the excuses. In CBC, this is the thought, feeling, behavior link that you don't want to skip. And I coached myself through this just like in my brain, and I was laying there in bed. But if you're not used to doing this, I would definitely recommend doing it in your journal, especially if it's something big that you're really trying to work through. So first, identify your excuses. Okay, my excuse number 1, I don't want to bike in the rain. The other one was that it's too humid to work out. Okay, whatever. I don't have the same equipment at home. I'm following a workout plan. And so I'm going to have to make accommodations based on the weights that I have from when I bought some free weights during COVID. So then step 5 comes in where you want to challenge and reframe these excuses, these negative thoughts. So this is how I want to walk you through this so you can see how I coached myself through each one. Okay, excuse number 1, I don't want to ride in the rain. So how do you solve for that problem? Now, when I'm talking to you as my client and you're coming to me with all these excuses, it's like, oh, this could go wrong and this could happen and this could happen and this could happen. And it's okay, great. So we need to make sure that we're breaking each of the excuses down because otherwise this gets just really overwhelming. So I don't want to ride in the rain. I've made that clear. It's also really dangerous because of the roads that I have to ride on. And as the weather starts to change, it's dark. Like it is pitch black still at 6 o'clock, pushing 7 o'clock in the morning. So now my whole day versus in the summer, I can get up at 5 o'clock and get to the gym by 7 and I can start my day earlier. But now my whole day is being pushed and it's bookended by sunsets at 5:30, 4:30. I mean, 5:30 is nice. Usually 4:30 in the middle of the winter, right? So I don't have as much day during my day. So my reframe, how do I solve this problem? Okay, well, I can pay attention to the weather and know which days there's not supposed to be any rain and plan for those days to be in the gym. But then on the days where it's clearly going to rain, I can pay attention to the weather map where it says what time the rain is coming and the percentage, and then keep an eye on what's happening. And so for 2 days in a row now, that is what I've done. And I've been able to stay in bed with the cats until 10, 11 o'clock in the morning and work from bed a little bit. And then notice that the clouds cleared up. And so my commitment to myself is that I will get up and go for a 20-minute bike ride, which ends up being about 3 miles. And I have this little path and it's just this nice little rectangle along the beach. And if that's all that I do for the day, then that's great. But usually I'm like, okay, I'm already sweaty. This feels great. So now I'm going to lift some weights. But if I ride my bike when it's clear, my worry also is that I will get to the gym and then the rain will come while I'm at the gym. And now I'm either stuck at the gym or I have to ride my bike home in the rain. So still dangerous. So how do I avoid that? Okay, well, I can work out at home. Problem solved. Great. Now I just have to stay committed and stay in that agreement with myself. So the second excuse, it's too humid. Well, that's a stupid excuse because even at the gym, they don't have the AC on anymore. I don't know if it's like illegal, but you're not allowed to turn the AC on after a certain date. And then you're not allowed to turn your heater on before a certain date. I don't know what the dates are because I don't really follow the rules, but I try. But if I'm sweating, we're turning the AC on. So my reframe then was open the windows, turn on the fans, and just make it as comfortable as possible. I just turned the heater on because I need to dry my sweaty gym clothes, but that's the only reason why I've been having the heater on because perimenopause keeps me nice and toasty throughout the day. So that's how I solved for that problem. It's too humid, great, problem solved. And I mean, it just means that I'm going to sweat more, and that's always a good thing. So that's fine. So, excuse number 3 was that I don't have the right equipment. So, when I'm at the gym, I'm definitely using free weights, and they go up obviously higher than what I have available here at my house. There's benches that can be moved in a different way. I don't have the bench press and I don't have some of the leg machines and I don't have the squat bar. I have these weights that I got off of Amazon. So my reframe was like, okay, so modify what you're doing. Okay, you're not going to be able to get your full on heavy lifting day done at the house, but what can you actually do? And I've been lifting since I was 16 years old. So 30 years of weightlifting. I know how to make modifications. I know how to improvise. And I know how to have a good workout wherever I am. I could just do body weight lunges and push-ups and squats and all of that. So that's how I solved for that problem. So, step 6 is create a realistic plan. So, CBC is about behavioral experiments. So, testing new habits instead of trying to be perfect. Can you imagine that? And this is what I do with my clients, where we're testing things out because what works for you might not work for the other person. And just because you're neurodivergent, I realize I said that stupid. If you're neurodivergent in one way, we don't all have the same neurodivergency. And so what works for your neurodivergent brain doesn't necessarily work for somebody else's neurodivergent brain. So we have to test things out. And it's helpful to hear how other people are using the tools and the strategies that I teach. And we still have to figure out what works for your bandwidth, what works for your excuses. So I had to create a realistic plan that I can actually stick to. So this is what I decided. I'm going to warm up on the bike when the rain has cleared out. Now, because I have to do client work and I have to be available during certain hours, there's definitely a cutoff, but I feel actually a bit more freedom because I can ride my bike for 20 minutes and then come home and then work out in my living room, immediately have breakfast, shower, and get ready for my workday. Versus at the gym, I have to ride my bike 20 minutes, have a workout, do my stretching, ride home. So that's another 20 minutes. So now my schedule is getting bumped way back. So this actually sometimes works a little bit better than having to go to the gym. So that feels fucking great. It feels more expansive and totally doable. I will do weights at home with what I have and I will figure it out. And I will focus on consistency over intensity. Like I said, I can see when the rain is going to be clearing up, and then I can do my heavy lifting at the gym on those days where I'm going hard and I'm doing, 4 sets of 5 reps. So that's really, really heavy weight. So that way, what I'm doing is I'm actually reinforcing my identity as someone who keeps promises to herself and someone who's consistent, who I consider myself an athlete. I consider myself someone who is fit and into fitness and not someone who just works out when it's convenient or when it's easy or when the feeling strikes. Like, this is something that I'm really committed to. It's really, really important to me. So I want to step into that identity. And one thing that I realized is sometimes you have to continually step into this identity. And you can see the parallels between business and what I'm talking about here is like if you're stepping into a 6-figure level coach where you're consistently doing the same identity work to step into that identity. Who is that person? How are they showing up? What are the habits that they have? What have they stopped doing in order to get to where they are? What have they started doing? This is a perfect example of what that looks like. So, step 7 is reinforce with a reward. Now, CBC teaches that behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. And so, I didn't actually need a reward for this instance because the workout was the reward, like feeling really good and proud of myself was the reward. But this is why when I'm talking to clients about launching their offer, how are you going to celebrate when you sign your first client? Actually, back up. How are you going to celebrate when you finish your conversion event or your turn on event? How are you going to celebrate when the first person signs up? How are you going to celebrate when the fifth person? How are you going to celebrate at the end? So we want to make sure that we're continually rewarding ourselves in some way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, I'm going to buy this thing or I'm going to do this. It's I'm going to celebrate in the group because I'm going to be really proud and I want all of you to acknowledge me because that feels really good. So you know you the best. For me, that feeling of accomplishment and that dopamine hit was good. Sometimes the money hitting your account, that's your reward, right? But if you need that external motivation, so maybe you take yourself out to coffee, or you take the rest of the day off of work, or you have a dance party, or you like my thing is like I order takeout sushi. That's the reinforcement. So the point is the reinforcement piece. And then the last piece here is review and reflect. So after the workout, I took a minute just to notice how I felt as I was stretching at the end. I was like, yes, I did it. I think I've cracked the code on winter workouts so I can stay feeling fit and fierce and fabulous over 40 and really in charge of my mental health, because things got really scary and really dark a couple of months ago. And now that I'm on HRT and I'm feeling so much better, I want to keep this going because the thick of winter for me is very scary time. And I've had bouts of depression and I've battled this. So I want to make sure that I am setting myself up for success so that I don't get back to that scary place. So I thought about how I felt, how proud I was of myself, and that reflection piece is really important because it teaches your brain, see, that wasn't as hard as you made it out to be. There's so many times where we put things off, and then we do the thing and we're like, I got it done in like 5 minutes. How many times have you done that? Many, many, many times, especially if you are neurodivergent. As you see, you can use this exact process for anything that you're procrastinating on. You can do it around creating content, pitching a client, cleaning your house, quitting smoking, food stuff, body image stuff, having a hard conversation. This can really be applied to literally everything. So it's all the same pattern. Thought, I don't want to, feeling, resistance, guilt, behavior, avoidance, result, more guilt. So if you change your thoughts, you're going to change your results. Amazing. So if you take anything from this episode, let it be this, that motivation doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Clarity, and I talk about this all the time, clarity comes from doing. It doesn't come from sitting idle and just waiting around. You have to put one foot in front of the other. But if you're feeling stuck and even getting that one foot out, use this CBC framework to just get the fucking thing going. When you start moving, the motivation follows. So use this framework to get yourself moving forward with whatever you've been putting off. So if this episode helped you, I would love, love, love for you to share it with a friend who maybe needs a little push. Share it with your clients if they are working through this. And if you want more mindset tools for building an anti-hustle life and business, follow the podcast, reach out to me on Instagram, and we can have a conversation. Thanks so much for being here, and I appreciate you. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast. I hope you found inspiration in the message and that you got some actionable next steps that you can implement right away in your business to start seeing results and moving the needle. Remember, you don't have to sacrifice your well-being or your mental health to achieve success. So prioritize your pleasure, play, and rest while you build your business around your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps me reach more entrepreneurs like you who want to do business in a completely new way. For more resources and to connect with my community, please visit my website at antihustlebiz.com and follow me on Instagram at @TheShannonWhaley. Until next time, keep taking those strategic anti-hustle steps toward building the business and life that you love. Take care.